in India over playing Pakistan in this Asia Cup. The match went on. Indian government and BCCI gave their reasons, but the players made their minds and intentions known. In a never-before gesture by the Indian cricket team or any team on a cricket field, Suryakumar Yadav and his men refused to acknowledge the Pakistani side as any other opponents. They played the match with good spirit and grace, but refused to shake hands and indulge in any other manner in a friendly way with the other side. It was clear the Indian team was itself not thrilled with the idea of facing Pakistan and wanted to do something to share in the solidarity with all Indians. Did it work? That's the biggest question. Those who were against playing Pakistan in the first place are not impressed. They feel the greatest message will be given only if we boycott Pakistan at such stages and are willing to forego the money associated with such a blockbuster clash. Others feel Indian players did the best they could of the duty that was entrusted on their shoulders, and they managed to provide a balm, if nothing else, to their emotions. With another match slotted between the two sides in this very tournament, tonight we asked, did the players sufficiently honour the nation's sentiments? We'll take that question to our guest joining us in just a bit. So first up on Plain Speak today, Indian players snubbing Pakistani side on the field. No handshakes, Pakistan is sulking, also lodging a complaint. We'll get you more in just a bit. After that, we'll also discuss the Supreme Court's interim order on the Waqf Amendment Act. What does it entail and whose victory is it? Also on the show later today, this exclusive conversation with Charlie Kirk's colleague. What does it mean that a conservative right-wing activist can be murdered and who's to blame for it? First up, let me begin with what Team India, all facets of Team India have said as far as the no handshake controversy is concerned with Pakistan. So Indian captain Suryakumar Yadav was obviously asked this question. He has made it very clear that the Indian team, the Indian players were aligned with the BCCI and the Indian government. This statement gives you an idea that this was a strategy or a turn of events that was decided well in advance, both with the BCCI and with the Indian government as well. Indian coach Gautam Gambhir also came out to say, as Suryakumar Yadav also said, that they wanted to show solidarity towards Pahalgam victims. It was their way of doing so. Certainly no one, the players, the least of all, can completely tune out all of the noise that in the build-up of this match. What does the BCCI say? Well, they've said very categorically, and this is something we brought to you earlier as well, that there's actually no specification on shaking hands with the opposition as far as ICC rules are concerned. I'll break that down further for you in just a bit. But PCB, of course, have not just suspended their director of international cricket operations in the aftermath of this entire fallout with the Indian team. They have obviously lodged a complaint against the match referee and against Indian team to the ICC as well. So PCB chairman Mohsin Naqvi has said that Pakistan Cricket Board has lodged a complaint with the ICC. They feel this is a violation by the match referee of ICC Code of Conduct and violation of laws pertaining to the spirit of the game, that India did not come out to shake hands either at the toss or post-match. And they are demanding immediate removal of the match referee from the Asia Cup. This is also because the match referee told the Pakistani captain at the toss that there will be no handshake. Although no directives were passed for post-match, but it's clear that he was made aware by Indian side that they will not like to indulge in a handshake or anything else at the toss, so the match referee should not ask for it. What do ICC rules say on this? Well, no team or player can be forced to shake hands. There's absolutely no provision. Handshakes are not mandatory as far as any rules of the game are concerned in any tournament. Therefore, no penalty can be put on any player on a team for not shaking hands at any stage of the match. Remember, an penalty can only be invited if there is any physical or verbal disrespect or abuse. And there was certainly none as far as the Indian players is concerned. It is up to their own conscience whether they want to shake hands with somebody or not. But the big debate coming up today is this: did the players sufficiently honour the nation's sentiments? Do you think they've managed to walk that tight line of playing against Pakistan also, but also respecting the sentiments of the country at large? That debate is coming up.
want to dedicate today's win to all our armed forces who showed a lot of bravery.
We wanted to show our solidarity towards the victim of all the families that has what they've gone through during the Pahalgam attack.
I will go shake my hands with my enemies, that's fine. So, but इसको political मत बनाओ यार, इस गेम रहने दो.
ये संदेश था पाकिस्तान कि जब तक तुम्हारी आतंकवादी सारी करतूतें नहीं रुकेगी, तब तक भारत का खिलाड़ी भी आपके साथ हाथ नहीं मिलाएगा.
We don't really have a right to choose our opponents or teams we play against in tournaments.
Let's go across to our guests joining us, former Indian cricketers Piyush Chawla and Atul Vasan on the show. Vimal Kumar, sports journalist who's also covering the Asia Cup in Dubai, is also joining us. I'm also joined by Major Pawan Kumar, defense expert. But I want to begin with Piyush Chawla first because, you know, as a player, it's almost, second nature that when you go onto the field, you shake hands, there's a certain amount of respect and acknowledgement you show to the opposing side. Did you think the Indian players did the right thing as far as this match is concerned, with no eye contact, no acknowledgement and no handshake?
Well, they did absolutely perfect thing because as we heard from all the other players as well and from captain, from coach, that they were there just to do their job, to play the game of cricket, which was, they got aligned by BCCI and the Indian government. So they just went out there and doing their business. And shaking hands, not shaking hands, it's up to the individual. And as a team, what you take a decision and everyone has to stand for it. So I'm absolutely fine with that they're not shaking hands. And there's no point, filing a complaint against match referee and against BCCI. It's behaving like a child. You just come and play good cricket and win the game rather than doing all this kiddish stuff.
I'll go, I'll obviously follow that bit about PCB complaint and what follows next as far as this tournament is concerned. But Major Pawan Kumar, I want to come to you on the larger question. You've been one of those voices who have not been in favour of this match taking place in the first place. But after the team's reaction and the way the team dealt with the Pakistani side, are you happy or are you satisfied in some sense that yes, the team acknowledged the sentiment of the country at large?
No, ma'am, absolutely no. So the answer is completely, absolutely no. Because just some days back, during a pre-match event, the same captain, BCC captain, had all smiles while meeting Mohsin Naqvi. The same Mohsin Naqvi who wanted to nuke India some months back. So he acknowledged yesterday the term you used, that never before gesture. So this never before gesture just came because of the pressure of social media and nothing else. It's just a damage control by BCCI and it's just a pure gimmick just to fool the Indians. So at first place, they should not go there. And as you mentioned, that ICC rule clearly says that handshake is not mandatory. So if it is not mandatory, what big thing they are doing? It is not mandatory, simple. So if it's not a big deal. So not even me, not even a single soldier is happy. I'm connected with so many of the people across the country. Nobody is happy at all. This handshake, we don't accept it at all.
Okay. Vimal, what do you think? I mean, I think there is a point to the sentiment that Major Pawan Kumar is also establishing. I mean, it's not like you gave up something to make any point. It's a symbolic gesture at best to not shake hands. But the larger issue of why we keep playing Pakistan, I mean, in Asia Cup itself, in the second edition itself, because of tensions between India and Sri Lanka, India did not participate in that tournament. So what's so different about tensions between India and Pakistan now?
With all due respect to Major Pawan Kumar, what he has been saying, he has his own defense background. I have a sporting background and I can speak from my experience and the kind of conversation chats I have with these Indian team players. In the morning, I managed to speak to a couple of guys on text and I thought it was yesterday, maybe in the heat of the moment, all this thing happened. In the morning, all players on the same line. कि भाई विमल भाई ये देश के इससे बड़ा कुछ भी नहीं है, ये करना है, ये करना था हमें. So that's the sentiment. I must tell you, and Piyush is there, Atul Bhai is there. Never ever in the history of Indian cricket, a captain has taken this stand, this kind of a stand. And I must tell you, it must not have been that easy because India carries a different kind of reputation, not only in Indian cricket but over international cricket. But as we know, the India wanted to send a strong man because there was some talks going on in India, boycott karo. So what was the bigger platform the whole world is talking about? Abhi you look at, so I say it as Suryakumar, Pakistan, they have been rattled, they have been baffled. You look at PCB, first of all they said, remove Andy Pycroft, poor Andy Pycroft, match referee. Then they are evoking the spirit of sportsmanship as if they forgot their own player, use some dirty words. The current player, and now when they didn't get anything, this apparently according to Pakistani media report, they have sacked their own top cricket official because he could not salvage the situation yesterday. So PCB is completely confused. Mohsin Naqvi is completely confused what they want because there has been a severe criticism back home. All the former players are blasting. The thing is that the Pakistan has been so poor as a cricketing nation, they just want to divert the attention by doing all these things.
No, the point that you're making, I'll go back across to Major Pawan Kumar one more time because the point he's making is that इस gesture से हमारा भी कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ, लेकिन पाकिस्तान को जो मैसेज देना था वो भी हमने दे दिया. तो एक तरह से ये विन-विन सिचुएशन है हमारे लिए. Why should we suffer? Because गवर्नमेंट ने भी यही रीजनिंग दी थी कि आप मैच बॉयकॉट करोगे या टूर्नामेंट बॉयकॉट करोगे, उसमें नुकसान किसका होगा? नुकसान तो आपके प्लेयर्स का होगा.
Right.
Pawan, Vimal, I'll come back to you. Yes.
So, ma'am, एक तो with all due respect to this gentleman, reputation. So he spoke about the reputation of Indian cricket team. So इंडियन क्रिकेट टीम की रेपुटेशन हमारे सोल्जर्स हैं उनके सुप्रीम सेक्रीफाइस से ज्यादा बड़ी हो गई क्या? उनकी इतनी ज्यादा रेपुटेशन है क्या कि वो छोटा सा एक मैच बॉयकॉट नहीं कर सकते?
सर, you are mixing two things, sir. प्लेयर के हाथ में you ask पीयूष चावला is there, अतुल वासन is there. ये प्लेयर के हाथ में डिसीजन नहीं है. आप प्लेयर को टारगेट ना करें.
I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. प्लेयर्स के हाथ में नहीं. I agree with you, sir. I agree with you.
Sir,
so I'm not pointing. Okay. Let me reframe my question. I'm not pointing towards you. I'm pointing my question towards BCCI, sir.
आप प्लीज सर, मैं आपको एक याद दिलाना चाहता हूँ. ग्रेट सचिन तेंदुलकर, मुंबई में क्या कांड हुआ था? इंग्लैंड की टीम थी, इंग्लैंड की टीम वापस चली गई थी. उसके बाद आई इंग्लैंड की टीम, सचिन तेंदुलकर ने चेन्नई में टेस्ट मैच खेला. उस समय क्रिकेट इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं था और सचिन तेंदुलकर ने शतक बनाया, मैच जीता. उन्होंने कहा कि मेरे इस काम से अगर थोड़ा सा भी मरहम लोगों को लगता, थोड़ी सी भी मैं उनके चेहरे पे खुशी दे सकता हूं, तो मैं एज ए क्रिकेटर अपना काम करूं. क्रिकेटर्स को ड्रैग मत कीजिए.
ओके, लेट हिम फिनिश ना. विमल, लेट हिम फिनिश. लेट मेजर कुमार फिनिश.
आपका पॉइंट ले लेता हूं. चलो, मैं प्लेयर्स को, क्रिकेटर्स को नहीं लेके आऊंगा, लेकिन आप एक बात बताइए, क्रिकेट के अलावा और कोई स्पोर्ट नहीं है क्या हमारे कंट्री में? एंड उन्होंने सचिन द ग्रेट आप उनको बोल रहे हो, उन्होंने बोला था कि अगर मेरी शतक या मेरा एक विक्ट्री अगर इंडिया के लोगों को अगर थोड़ी सी खुशी दे सकती है तो आई एम वेरी हैप्पी. तो कल के केस में तो सर नोबडी वाज हैप्पी. गेम्स और स्पोर्ट्स किसी कंट्री के साथ कहीं पे खेले जाते हैं ताकि कंट्री का मोटिवेशन बढ़े. एंटायर कंट्री वाज नोबडी वांटेड टू सी दिस क्रिकेट टू हैपन. तो फिर फायदा क्या हुआ उस मैच का? इस मैच में तो सिर्फ अभी मैं प्लेयर्स का नहीं बोल रहा हूँ सर, अभी मैं सिर्फ बीसीसीआई का बोल रहा हूँ.
No, sir, I was in Dubai Stadium. 80% people, I spoke to hundred of people. People were coming from USA, UK, Canada, everywhere. They were watching the game. पैसे खर्च किए. And you are deciding their nationalism. अरे, all respect to all the people who want कि भाई जिनको नहीं खेलना है.
But आप दूसरे के खिलाफ में decide कर रहे हैं.
Okay, one by one. Major Kumar, please finish. I'll bring in Atul Vasan as well.
यस मैम, थैंक यू. सो सर, मैं नेशनलिज्म डिसाइड नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं मेरा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू बता रहा हूँ कि हमारे जो सोल्जर्स का सुप्रीम सैक्रिफाइस है. मैं आपके लिए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ सर, मैं गवर्नमेंट और बीसीसीआई को बोल रहा हूँ कि भाई आप, अभी हमारा ऑपरेशन सिंदूर चल रहा है. थोड़े दिन पहले हमारे वो हुआ है मेजर, वी वेंट थ्रू अ वॉर एंड हाउ कैन दिस इज इवन पॉसिबल कि हम उनके साथ, ऐसे कंट्री के साथ हम क्रिकेट खेल रहे हैं. और दूसरी बात, आप इस चीज को लिख के ले लीजिए. take it in writing. They will attack us again. They will attack us again, sir. हम उनके साथ क्रिकेट खेलते रहेंगे, फिर वो अटैक करेंगे। 4 दिन हम 15 अगस्त 26 जनवरी को जय हिंद करेंगे और फिर उनके साथ क्रिकेट खेलने लग जाएंगे। मैम हमने थोड़े दिन पहले जस्ट 2 मिनट्स मैम, थोड़े दिन पहले हमने हमारे डेलीगेशंस भेजे कंट्रीज में। जस्ट इमेजिन, कल वो कंट्रीज और वहां पे ये बताने के लिए कि जस्ट सी हाउ दिस टेरर फैक्ट्री इज गोइंग इन पाकिस्तान। और कल वो सेम कंट्रीज के हेड्स जहां पे हमारे डेलीगेशंस गए थे, अगर वो देखेंगे कि यार ये तो कल यहाँ पे इतने डेलीगेशंस इतनी प्रेजेंटेशंस दे रहे थे और आज ये दोनों मिलके आपस में गेम खेल रहे हैं, झपियां पा रहे हैं, तो हाउ who will take us seriously?
No, so the thing is, you're right about one thing. There can be a concerted national policy on this, on how to deal with Pakistan. I think that's a separate issue, but the issue, the thing is,
there is.
No, once
BCCI
again,
and Indian government has said that multilateral tournament, we are not playing 1-to-1. Bilateral, we are not playing. What Mr. Pawan Kumar is saying, that point is taken. Individually तो नहीं खेल रहे हैं ना, IPL में तो नहीं खेलने दे रहे हैं ना 2009 से। अभी किसकी भद पिटी है? इंडिया के थ्रू मैसेज गया ना कि भाई देखो तुम कंट्री एज ए कंट्री तुम कितने गलत हो, पूरी दुनिया बात कर रही है अब कि बीसीसीआई ने इंडियन प्लेयर्स से ऐसा क्यों किया।
Okay, but was it the low-hanging fruit? Vimal, was it the low-hanging fruit, which was more symbolic than anything else? It didn't quite in concrete ways, whether it's financially, whether it's in terms of its participation in the Asia Cup, it didn't quite in concrete ways subject Pakistan to anything. Let Atul Vasan come in on this. Where do you stand? Did the Indian team sufficiently do what it could do, or do you think that the whole point of playing this match is the wrong point?
Well, actually, okay. Thanks for bringing me in. I've been listening to the same rhetoric, and and good job. I was just out of it because you can wake up somebody who's sleeping, but you can't wake up somebody who's acting to sleep. You have to understand. Everybody is going on the same thing. You think by saying that this match carries on and we move on, we are not patriot. I'm not a patriot, of course. So this is the wrong thing, But I'm saying people don't understand. The same person who decided to attack Pakistan decided to let the Pakistani hockey team come in. So who are you? So this game, in any other time and age, this wouldn't have happened. But there are certain things moving behind, people don't understand. And I'm telling you, for peace. And then I was the first one to say that why did Suryakumar Yadav acknowledge and shake hands with Salman Agha in the first press conference? I was the one, this is the right thing to do. We got on with it. We won, that is not the point, but people keep on equating and bringing on this rhetoric about blood and bullets and this, cricket कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ता, उनको एक मैच खेला हराया आगे चलेंगे, क्योंकि ये करना पड़ रहा था, क्योंकि इसके अलावा हमें बहुत लंबा नुकसान होता। आपको समझ नहीं आ रही है, तो आप अगर मोदी साहब को जज कर रहे हैं, उनको डाउट कर रहे हैं, तो शेम ऑन यू, बिकॉज ही नोज मोर देन यू। सो आप समझो बात को, अगर कोई दूसरी मल्टीनेशनल टूर्नामेंट भी अगर दूसरा टाइम होता तो हम नहीं खेलते। हमें उनको नहीं खेलना, उनको नहीं लॉन्च करना, उनकी बेइज्जती करनी है, उनको जिससे फायदा होता है उनसे लेना है, पर इसके पीछे मत पड़िए, आगे चलिए। एंड वी सेंट अ मैसेज, एंड अगेन इन देयर नेचर ऑफ द बीस्ट, they are so churlish and immature that they complained that we didn't respect them. And then you think by forcing India to respect them, it's egg on the face. So this is what Pakistan is. It's funny actually. So they don't even have any shame now, because they've borrowed money from all over the world, and they know that all the world will get together, preventing harm to them, because सबको तो पैसे देने उन्होंने, तो वो तो उनको बचा ही लेगा। और उसके बाद जाके गोदी में बैठ गए वहाँ पे ट्रम्प की। तो फिर अगर इंडिया के पास पावर नहीं है उनको ऑस्ट्रेसाइज करने की वर्ल्ड वाइड, आप खेल के उनको साइड करिए, अपने तरीके से उनको तंग करिए। अभी पानी बंद करा है, हुक्का बंद करा है, अभी सब तंग करेंगे उनको। उनकी हमारा तो सब कुछ चल रहा है, उनका कुछ नहीं चल रहा। तो एज कार्ल मार्क्स सेड, religion is the opium of masses, right? So now I think cricket is the opium for masses given by army in Pakistan to keep them in good spirits. And I feel sorry for these guys, because they have to also think like this. And
no, but that is precisely why. But Atul, that is precisely why, because Pakistan has such few things to look forward to. That is precisely why if you hit them on in the cricket aspect, if you say, okay, you live for this one contest, we're going to take away this contest from you, it would make things even worse for them.
Yeah. No, they know that, the minute they chose to bat first, I knew that they were not in the right frame of mind, and India just, knew that the match was there, because they had doubts. And I think, they were looking forward to the handshake from India to validate again their team and Pakistan, so that things get back to normal. This time we decided no more.
Okay. Piyush, what do you think? Pawanji, I'm coming back to you 1 second. Piyush, in sporting aspects, we've always felt that politics and sports cannot be mixed. But not shaking hands with the team is also mixing politics with sports, right? So why not go the full hog? Why not say, okay, if we want the entire world to acknowledge Pakistan as a terror country, then we have to start first, no? If we only make compromises with that stand, then why would the rest of the world listen to us, as Major Kumar is saying?
Well, as we just discussed earlier, that you keep politics and sports separately, but as Atul Bhai also just mentioned, that it's Indian government who aligned this game, and it's like a big slap on Pakistan as well, because you won the game, you just showed them that we are just here to do our job and not respecting what they're doing and not acknowledging whatever Pakistan was doing. So I think everything, whatever has happened was
only this time.
Yes, continue. Yes.
Yeah. So everything, whatever has happened, it was like we are talking about is just the game. And obviously, we all know how big cricket is in Asia. And through this medium, we can give them that reply that, okay, we are here, we are doing our job and just getting it done, that rub it on your face, and then we are off from it. So I think that's the perfect reply given by the Indian team.
Okay, yes. Major Kumar, you wanted to come in?
Yes, ma'am. So, मतलब मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ कि I understand cricket enthusiasts, उनका इतना सब कुछ होता है, they love the sports and everything, but never in their life do they ever think that कि भाई soldiers जो हमारे deployed हैं line of control पे, वो क्या सोचते होंगे ये मैच देख के? My question is not pointing towards them. My question is towards BCCI and towards government of India. So my take is, my stand is still 100% this only, that this match should not have happened. And as Atul sir mentioned कि अगर हैंडशेक मिला देते, हाथ मिला लेते तो वो वैलिडेट हो जाते. सर वो वैलिडेट तो जैसे ही पिच पे गए थे ना दोनों टीमें, उसी टाइम हो गया था वैलिडेट. पूरा वर्ल्ड ने देख लिया कि भाई everything is normal. वो उनकी तो we might have won, but actually they have won. It already got validated, sir.
Okay. I do want to move forward a little bit. As far as this complaint is concerned, Vimal, this complaint of, I mean, it's natural for Pakistan to react like this, but obviously nothing will come out of it because there is no rule that can force a player to shake hand with another player or one team with the other team.
Definitely, and this is not unprecedented. A lot of people are making this has happened first time. I will give you two instances which I right now remember. Maybe there could be many from the past. Recently, there was a test match or ODI where Sri Lankan captain Angelo Matthews was run out wrongly against Bangladesh. And they were so bitter, they did not shake hands.
No, but those are cricketing reasons. Those are cricketing reasons inspired due to what happens on the pitch. This is different.
Okay, but let's the example of tennis. The Ukrainian tennis player, women tennis player, whenever she beats a Russian player, she doesn't make eye contact. And there have been several instances in the past when you, as a country, you don't, the country don't have the great of the relationship and they ignore. So sometimes, because you have the international commitment, you have to honor that. And this is what the, as you starting, you said that player managed to walk this diplomatic tightrope very nicely. I don't think so. There could have been a better way, because if you look at, I saw Indian team practice. We say the calm, the calm before the storm वाली बात. पूरे आपको प्रैक्टिस सेशन देख के अंदाजा ही नहीं लगेगा कि पाकिस्तान के साथ मैच था. चुपचाप एकदम मेथोडिकल प्रोफेशनल तरीके में इंडियन टीम ने चुपचाप अपना काम किया और उसके बाद स्टेटमेंट दिया. Okay,
Atul, you finish your point, but I'll add a question for you. I'll add a question for you. Many people believe, people like Major Kumar and others believe that actually if this wasn't about money, then it wouldn't be such a big deal not going for this tournament or forfeiting this match. This is purely about money. How does the BCCI justify that in the end this is about financial interests? Atul.
No way. This is Mickey Mouse money. Indian board doesn't make any money. They are the host. They are supporting other countries to come up and you know, come at par. And Asia is supported by India. So India is doing like a esoteric philanthropy by playing this. You know, Indian board makes more money in a day than playing in Asia Cup. So people have to understand, can we move on from here? And this gentleman who's a serviceman, I thank him for his service. We are very proud of you. But I ask you one question. You know, you're keeping coming back to the same point, and we got you last week that we shouldn't have played them. And we also agree with you. But you have to move on. And I'll ask you a question. Why did Mr. Modi go to Tianjin for the Shanghai Cooperation when Shahbaz Sharif was there? He should have abstained. They stood with back to each other. So there was no handshake. He didn't acknowledge him. So why don't you question Mr. Modi? Why are you after the cricket team?
No, so we are not questioning you, sir. We are questioning our government and BCCI only. That why are they playing? I'm not questioning you, sir. I'm
Government and
I'm
BCCI in
again
the same
questioning.
sentence. Come
No,
on, wake up.
I'm running actually this campaign from last 1 month. And if you would have
happened?
amazed
Did
to
you
see
succeed?
the
No.
space which I conducted yesterday evening, around 5,000 people were there in my space. And I conducted
The
the
match
space
still
along
happened.
with the match itself, sir. Nobody
So-
wanted to see this
so-
match. Nobody was
So we
interested.
appreciate your hard work.
So as
But the
Shivani
match
rightly
happened
brought
because
out,
the general
BCCI
consensus
is a
of our
greedy
leaders.
organization. That's why India as a BCCI is a completely greedy organization. They just want money. Otherwise, how come it is possible that a sports player is having wristwatches of 18-20 crores and an athlete and an Olympic athlete not even affording a shoe of 20,000 rupees? Is it possible? That's how we are
So
going
wake
to
up, sir, smell
win
the
Olympic
coffee.
medals?
Okay,
You have
okay.
to
I
make
just
your
want
own
to take a
money.
quick question. One
It's-
second.
it's- it's free-
Let's not
it's free
digress from the.
economics.
Let's not digress from the core
I'm
issue.
just leaving. I've got to go.
I just want to focus on the
So I'm
issue
just
that we're
saying,
discussing.
You know, this rhetoric about other people not making money is silly because it's economics. You know, if you don't make your money, people don't want to see you. Why should you get money? We are not communist country. Cricket is making money. So don't this cricket BCCI अंधा बांटे रेवड़ियां खुद अपने को ढूंढ के फिर के BCCI नजर आता है. BCCI वही करेगा जो गवर्नमेंट कहेगी. BCCI क्या ना पैसे बना रहा है, वो सपोर्ट कर रहा है. वो चुप बैठे हैं भाई, वो खेल के साइड हो रहे हैं. तो क्या करेगा?
No, so they are questioning the government as well. It's not
हाँ,
just
तो आप
about
करें,
the
government को
Indian
बोले.
sports.
BCCI को क्या बोल रहे हो?
टैक्स भी नहीं देते. एटलीस्ट वो टैक्स तो दे सर. बाकी हमारे इतने एथलीट्स हैं, ट्रैक इवेंट्स
कौन
हैं,
टैक्स
इतने
नहीं
सारे
देता?
रेसलर्स हैं. So that
अरे उनको क्योंकि वो लोग देखना नहीं चाह रहे हैं.
No, one second. I don't want to get into this, please. One second.
One
Gentlemen, this is not the discussion today. I just want to go across to Vimal very quickly. Vimal, the thing is that now a precedent has been set. Possibly Indian team would be expected to carry on this precedent for every match, maybe across sports as well, now that the cricketers have set an example. There's another match between India and Pakistan coming up in this very tournament. Do you expect that this is going to be the strict line now?
I think yes, that will be at least in this tournament, unless and until Pakistan realizes what they have been doing. If they compromise, they say, okay, this is what we respect the sentiment of Indian team. Because see, ultimately, Pakistan cricket I'm talking about, they have been isolated. You look at, they are not participating in IPL. Their cricket has gone down. There is no money. PSL is one of the lowest franchisee league in the world. Nobody comes there to play. So when players like Ken Williamson, David Warner, they are not picked in the IPL, then they go there. So that is the status of. So maybe better sense should prevail. They should look at, they have been a proud cricketing nation.
Okay.
What has, by engaging with India, by not engaging with India, their cricket has suffered. So I think better sense should prevail because India is not going to compromise from now onward.
Okay.
A line has been set. Because you don't expect the next match Suryakumar Yadav will go and shake hands and okay, we are all friends.
Yeah, well, let's wait and see exactly how long this tradition can be carried on and whether other sports will also like to take a cue from this, because there are other sports in which multi-nation events takes place and India and Pakistan do come up face to face. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Cutting across to some breaking updates also coming in, Supreme Court appointed SIT probing the affairs of Vantara has given a clean chit to the Zoological Rescue and Rehabilitation Centre in Gujarat's Jamnagar. CNN News 18 has also accessed the order copy. Let's go across to my colleague Anand, who's joining us with more on this.
Well, this is big, Shivani, and to our viewers. Vantara has been given a complete clean chit by the two-justice SIT of the two-justice bench of the Supreme Court, and the SIT was led by Justice Chalameshwar, and they have gone through in depth all the allegations and complaints that have been made against Vantara and the about 46,000 animals across various species who are currently being cared for, nurtured and perhaps rehabilitated at the facility there in Jamnagar. Now, just reading some of the important operative parts in this entire 45-page judgment that includes a full Schedule A of all the complaints, news articles, stories, information, submissions that were considered in detail that have also been attached, and all the complaints across various animal species and various concerns from various animals brought in, rescued, rehabilitated from various countries have also been questioned. Importantly, 4.6.3 page 26 says, on examination of the complaints, the news reports referred to therein and all accompanying references, the SIT finds no credible, tangible or prosecutable evidence material or documentation has been produced in support of allegations. Complaints and authors were afforded an opportunity to substantiate their claims. The limited material submitted was scrutinized but does not disclose the commission of any offence. One journalist expressly stated an unwillingness to cooperate with courts or authorities. Others furnished only news clippings and secondary articles which in themselves constitute hearsay. At no stage was any material produced that would qualify as material evidence for any further investigation, much less a prosecution or penal measure. The allegations rest wholly on conjecture and surmises, on secondary reporting and activist commentary, and none of which have ever met with the prima facie threshold. Now, and so, having considered the entirety of the material placed before it, the SIT has now found anything that would prima facie disclose the commission of any offence to warrant any further action. The complaints are therefore devoid of merit. Very strongly worded. Then all other complaints, 4.6.4, all other complaints, articles, videos and related materials not specifically addressed have also been examined and are liable to be rejected in limine. They are found to be wholly baseless, devoid of even semblance of factual or legal foundation, and the verge of being imaginary. These appear to have been advanced merely to attract attention on the premise that sensational allegations are more likely to gain visibility. And look at the number of people who've been checked or questioned and inquired. In the course of its inquiry, the SIT interacted and obtained inputs from the Collector Jamnagar, the Superintendent of Police, the Secretary Forest Government of Gujarat, the Chief Wildlife Wardens of Gujarat, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, as well as Central Bureau of Investigation, Enforcement Directorate, Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, Director General Forest, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, the Department of Customs, the Sites Management Authority of India, the Animal Quarantine and Control Services, Department of Animal Husbandry and the Central Zoo Authority. And upon careful consideration of the allegations, the responses of these central and state authorities and its own independent assessment, the SIT finds no merit in any of the allegations. No breach or violation has been found of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, the recognition of Zoo Rules 2009, the guidelines of the Central Zoo Authority, the Foreign Trade Regulation and Development Act 1992, the Customs Act 1962, the IPC 1860 or the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 and the Convention of International Trade Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. So all these acts have been thoroughly vetted, questioned, inquired, and they have found no misdemeanor or wrongdoing altogether. Further, they have said none of the numerous authorities in India and abroad could support wild speculative allegations. Rather, they express satisfaction on the issues of compliances and regulatory measures. 4.6.7, physical inspection of the facilities and animal welfare conditions also belied the speculative apprehensions. 4.6.8, before accepting any animal and its acquisition, not only requisite due diligence is performed, but also indemnity and donor zoo transferor is specifically insisted and kept in records. And also then there are said 4.6.10, no irregular cash crypto flows, no engagement, I'm just going to increase it again. No engagement with smugglers or unlicensed intermediaries have been brought out. Therefore, the SIT concludes that the allegations made are baseless. The acquisitions are neither vitiated nor tainted by fraud, misrepresentation or contravention of law. 4.6.11. There is no credible, tangible and prosecutable material to prove any wrongful act concerning the possession and acquisition of animals by any donor zoo of any foreign country. However, suspicions have been raised qua local commercial acquisition of animals by donor zoo of foreign countries. Based thereon, doubts are raised on permissibility of commercial acquisition by donor zoo within domestic laws applicable in the respective foreign country. In any case, it is verified that the exports by such donor zoo to Vantara entities in India are under valid sites permit and non-commercial transaction permitted by the concerned government agency and under requisite permissions and clearances. Once the concerned foreign government agencies have allowed such exports and the import thereof is accepted, all concerned authorities in India, there is no reason for Vantara entities or Indian statutory authorities either to go behind the permits, clearances, certificates issued abroad, to investigate, ascertain, issue of possession and acquisition of donor zoo being compliant of domestic laws in the respective foreign country. That means there is no smuggling, no trafficking of any of the wildlife or endangered species who have been rescued, rehabilitated. So it's everything is above board. Just quickly scrolling down to the operative part towards the end, Shivani, before I hand it back to you, this is also important. Towards the end, they have very clearly said, in any event, there is no credible, tangible 4.6.25. There is no credible, tangible, admissible material to show complicity or knowledge of wrongful act if done any by donor zoo to attract liability, criminal or otherwise, on Vantara entities. Presumption of innocence is hallmark of criminal jurisprudence. It cannot be ignored in this regard merely on the basis of imaginative allegations. Then 2.6 and 2.7 important. Vantara has been repeatedly subjected to various litigations in different courts in alleged public interest with repetitive speculative allegations without any credible, tangible and substantial evidence despite their lawful efforts without any commercialization. The operations of GZRRC and the RKTEWT emerge as legally compliant. Here the SIT also notes that some of the complaints have gone to the extent of questioning the functioning of all the departments of the government, both Indian and foreign. The complainants have also made allegations against the functioning of the court-appointed high-powered committee. They have equally castigated various high courts by making contemptuous allegations regarding various proceedings and process followed by the courts. Such allegations deserve not just complete rejection but deprecation. In the light of the fact-finding exercise, the SIT submits for the consideration of the Honorable Court that the complaints and complaints based on articles submits news reports, stories which are considered hereto may please be considered for appropriate orders as already been observed by the Honorable Court paragraph. So thereafter they go out and say please follow the appropriate orders, leaves it to the court, but the SIT finds nothing wrong across all a litany of complaints which they all say have got no legal basis, there is no material evidence, it's largely imaginative and based on hearsay, secondary articles. That's what it's repeatedly said, and all compliance is met, all boxes ticked. Nobody has a problem with Vantara because they have followed all the rules to the T. That's what the SIT has now observed.
The SIT panel that has submitted that report was taken on record earlier today by the Supreme Court. Moving on, in a significant development, the Supreme Court of India issued an interim order on the Waqf Amendment Act today, staying several key provisions while refusing to suspend the law in its entirety. The bench, led by Chief Justice B.R. Gavai and Justice A.G. Masi, ruled that the presumption of constitutionality applies to the Act and a complete stay would only be warranted in the rarest of rare cases. Union Minister Kiran Rijiju welcomed it, stating it upholds Parliament's decision, reflects judicial maturity. Opposition parties and Muslim organizations who had filed the petitions expressed partial relief but vowed to continue their legal challenge. So what are the key points as far as the SC order is concerned? One, that title record of a land cannot be changed even if it is deemed to be government property by the government itself. The title cannot be changed till proper inquiry or court decision, and the collector cannot adjudicate whether the land is government land or not. There is also a stay on practicing Muslim clause till rules are formulated across the country on this. Waqf Board will not have more than 3 non-Muslim members out of 11. Waqf by user clause has not been struck down. Its misuse has been considered reasonable reason by the court, and no case, the court says, has been made out to stay the entire act. Let me also point out some key observations that the court has made while delivering this interim order. Though the Supreme Court backed the Parliament Act on omitting Waqf by user clause, the Supreme Court said Waqf by user abolition is not arbitrary. It cited the fact that Waqf Board claimed a big chunk of land as Waqf property in Andhra Pradesh, for example. On 5 years practicing Muslim clause, the SC observed that while it was staying it due to technical reasons, it added that non-Muslims converting to Islam in order to take protection of Waqf Act can't be ruled out. On disqualifying ST land from being declared as Waqf properties, the Supreme Court said that this safeguards the interest of one of the most marginalized and that the provision has a nexus with the object of the Act. So is this interim order in a way a win for government's intent, even though some sections have been stayed? Let's take that to our guests joining us.
ये हमारा लोकतंत्र के लिए भी बहुत अच्छा शुभ संकेत है। वक्फ अमेंडमेंट बिल में जब चर्चा हुई थी लोकसभा राज्यसभा में, सबसे लंबी चर्चा गहराई से चर्चा करने के बाद उसको खारिज नहीं कर सकता है। यही सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने आज मोहर लगाया है।
एंक्रोचर्स को रिवॉर्ड किया जाएगा, वक्फ प्रॉपर्टीज में कोई डेवलपमेंट नहीं आएगा। तो इसीलिए हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट जल्द से जल्द एक फाइनल डिसीजन लेने के लिए जो भी जरूरी इक़दाम करना है वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट करे।
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Abdul Razak Khan is member of the Waqf Board in Karnataka, and Nikhil Chandwani is author and political analyst also joining us. Abdul Razak, the big contention was Waqf by user. This is what Waqf boards like yourself and Muslim organizations had objected to. Look at what the court is saying. The court is saying that, see, this Waqf by user provision was being abused by many. There was, a lot of misuse happening of this provision, and therefore it is not arbitrary for the government to completely put it out.
Definitely, Shivani, we welcome the verdict. We are not completely happy or satisfied with it, but still we do welcome the verdict because there were many different things that we were worried about. Now, when it comes to work by user, there is also the clause that the Supreme Court has said that there cannot be any change in the revenue records unless it follows the due procedure like the work tribunal, and then it goes to the judicial forum. So let us wait and watch what happens. As of now, what I could say is we are not completely happy and satisfied, but do welcome the verdict because the 5-year clause has been struck down, and then the collector,
it hasn't been struck down. It has been stayed till rules are formulated, because currently there are no rules to determine whether somebody has been a practicing Muslim or not. Yes.
For now, if somebody is not a practicing Muslim for 5 years or 4 years or 3 years, can definitely go ahead and donate as of now. First thing. Second thing is the collector being the deciding authority, the sinister plan, the hidden agenda of the BJP, where the collector could go ahead and make a decision on a Waqf property, has been stayed. He cannot take a decision now.
Okay,
so
but but you were questioning the intent of the government as far as the entire act is concerned. First of all, the court has said that there is no constitutionality question on the act itself today. That certainly would come as a big loss as far as your petitions are concerned. Secondly, the court is also acknowledging that, there are very many problems in the way properties were deemed as Waqf properties. Even on a Muslim practitioner, the court says today that, who knows, tomorrow somebody can declare themselves as Muslim just because they have a property under dispute, and therefore they will tie it up in legislation by declaring it Waqf. So there have to be checks and balances. As far as the government's intent was there, that there should be checks and balances when it comes to Waqf properties and their administration, the court seems to be in support. Abdul Razak?
Definitely.
Sir, can you hear me?
That is the reason why I said that we are not completely satisfied with this.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Abdul Razak. I think I have a little bit of an issue with your audio line. Yes. Let's go across to our other guests, author and political analyst Nikhil Chandwani joining us. Do you see as this some sort of a win for the government's intent, or as Abdul Razak was saying, you look at some of the clauses which were becoming operationally problematic for the practitioners of Islam or for Waqf users, those clauses have been stayed or struck down? For example, how many non-Muslims can be added to Waqf boards?
The first thing that we need to understand is the Waqf Amendment Act. It was not some random experiment by the central government. It was born out of the need to protect ordinary citizens whose properties were being encroached upon and mismanaged under the cover of Waqf. This is the main point that everybody needs to understand why this bill was brought. Then a lot of people, they even agreed with the government, and there was good peace after the bill was passed, and there was peace all over. Now some petitioners, they are going to the Supreme Court. They need to understand that our Honorable Home Minister and the government, they have ensured that this law is victim-centric. It gives ordinary citizens, ordinary people from all communities whose lands has been wrongly tagged at Waqf, some protection and accountability which was needed, which was the need of an hour. Second, the Hindu transparency thing, which there was a point of discussion where Hindus were the opposition parties, they try to portray Hindus as someone who are not party to the Waqf board. They need to understand that the provision to include a non-Muslim or a Hindu member on Waqf board, it has been twisted as interference. It is not interference at all. Why is there insecurity? I fail to understand. Where is interference? Where is interference? Why is there
Because you
insecurity?
don't allow us in
That
your
Hindu member,
institutions.
they don't have any veto power. They don't have any veto power. They have no right to dictate on religious matters. Their only role is transparency in property management.
Okay.
Historically, it has been misused to claim Hindu properties as Waqf land, and it was claimed without accountability. A neutral member, a non-Muslim member, simply acts as a safeguard. If the intent is pure, if the intention is pure, why is there so much of fear? Why are people challenging it in court? Accountability doesn't threaten fate at all. It only strengthens it.
Okay. Yes, Abdul Razak wants to come in.
Because according to constitution, there should be equality when you are not allowing any Muslim to be a part of your institutions or your organizations. Why would you want to come and sit on our heads? I am being very clear on this. Sir,
One by one. Nikhil, just hold on. Just hold on. Yes, Abdul Razak.
Shivani, my contention here is that when Muslims are not allowed to be members of the Tirupala Devasthanam board or maybe the Ram Janmabhoomi or Ram temple, you don't go ahead and entertain Muslims on your religious institutions.
I'll tell you what, Abdul Razak, we discussed
this.
this. No, 1 second. That's a fig leaf. We discussed this when this act was being brought in. As far as the management of a temple is concerned, obviously you don't want non-Muslims or non-religious persons there. But Waqf boards don't just have the power to, to administer Waqf lands. They have the power to decide what is Waqf land or not Waqf land. And those lands could belong to non-Muslims. So you need to have that representation because it's only the Waqf boards that have been given the status of a tribunal in India. Ram Janmabhoomi doesn't have any tribunal deciding on whether a land in Tamil Nadu is Ram Lala's land or not. It's not the same comparison.
Ma'am, this is about the constitution of the boards and the councils.
Yes.
The board and the council, the state definitely has some boards in which if we go ahead and take, for now it has said, the court has said some 3 of 11 in the state boards and 4 of 22 in the central council. So what I'm saying is, this is, every Waqf land is related to religious affairs. So how can we entertain a non-Muslim, a person of no faith coming into our religion?
Because there is very many non-Muslim activities going on Waqf lands. You can't deny that. Secondly, there are disputes by non-Muslims on these lands. If anything, the Supreme Court would have struck it down. If there was a constitutionality issue or a right to equality issue, the Supreme Court would have struck it down.
Ma'am, please give me a moment. It is still arbitrary. We are still fighting for it. This is just an interim order.
Okay.
This is just an interim stay. It is not a complete final verdict.
Okay, all right. I have to give 30 seconds
to...
Okay, 30 seconds to Nikhil. Interim win only. But there have been some things that the court didn't find right with the way the government formulated it.
I still believe that the court was pro-government in this case. Yes, the courts have the authority to dictate where the government can be wrong at times, but today it was a victory for the government. It was victory for the central government. The court didn't pass any legal order to stop the Waqf bill. And second, regarding the Hindu being a part of the Waqf committee, again, I am going back to the same subject. A neutral member, a non-Muslim member simply acts as a safeguard. If the intention is pure, why are people fearing accountability? Accountability doesn't threaten faith at all.
All right. But those rules have to be similar across all bodies then. That's the point that others are making. Whether those bodies are the same bodies or not, I think that's the contention here. I do thank our guests for joining us. Finally, as we promised, here's a conversation with slain right-wing activist in America, Charlie Kirk's colleague Jack Ross, days after the assassination that shocked the entire world. Why the rhetoric on the left is dangerous and why it could have led to the killing of Charlie Kirk. Thanks a lot for watching.
Why do you think that Charlie Kirk, of all people, was targeted? Because he was actually known for engaging in debate and dialogue.
Charlie... Obviously, at this stage, it is speculation. We don't know for sure. But Charlie was named about 2 weeks ago as the most influential man in US politics. He was credited with bringing around the re-election of Donald Trump, and his message did cut through. Because for young people, again, I'm 27, so on the cusp still, I think of young. But for people in my generation and younger, you are just fed left-wing talking points. You very rarely hear the other side. Before Charlie Kirk came along with Turning Point USA, and to a lesser extent, Turning Point UK, what we do in Britain. So Charlie was incredibly influential in actually challenging narratives which hadn't been questioned in over a decade and bringing around quite sensible answers. He managed to convert people over from sort of socialism or left-wing ideologies towards patriotism and conservatism. And because he was so successful in that, I think that's why he was targeted. I think that's why he received the level of abuse he had. And the fact he was, in my opinion, the best debater in the world. People weren't able to defeat him with words, so they killed him.
What do you make of the kind of reactions that have come to the surface online in US with many students even celebrating his killing, many others going on social media to call him not just controversial but much worse. So what do you make of these reactions even after such a brutal killing?
I think it shows the extreme polarization and even to an extent brainwashing of certain elements of our society, where they've been told for years that people like Charlie are Nazis or fascists, and they genuinely believe it, despite the fact Charlie was the furthest thing from a Nazi. He openly spoke against far-right extremism. He was a huge supporter of the Jewish people, and even in regard to when he commented on quite sensitive issues surrounding, say, crime rates in African-American communities, it didn't come from a place of hate. It didn't try to say, oh, you people aren't the same as us. He was saying, no, what I want to do is help you. I want to try and find some solutions. I want to try and improve fatherlessness things. He came from a good Christian perspective to tackle really sensitive and emotional topics from the goodness of his heart. But that message didn't cut through. He was maligned and I think almost turned into a cartoon, almost like a pantomime villain is what certain people branded him as. And we feel that quite a lot on the right, where people are quite quick to throw around terms like Nazi or fascist when it's not true. But unfortunately, elements of society are believing it's just true. And these extremists will use those labels to try in a twisted justification to enable their extremism and their violent attacks on us. Charlie certainly, the shooting obviously was the worst that happened, but he wasn't a stranger to being attacked. Throughout his career, he was regularly attacked. People throwing things at him, people trying to arrange violent mobs outside his events. He had armed security with him at all times. There was a real threat to his life, but this and ultimately he died reaching out to people, but he wasn't deterred and he wasn't intimidated.
What do you think the future could be for Turning Point?
I don't think Turning Point's going anywhere. What's happened to Charlie has turned him into a martyr, as far as a lot of us are concerned. And when Charlie was shot, it created a million Charlie Kirks. Everyone is emboldened and impassioned. We're not intimidated by this act of terrorism, and we'll be going forth with even more strength, even more pride, and making sure that Charlie's values and legacy live forever.
This is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
So, Ananya, Toya here, good morning. Asking you, at the risk of asking you to repeat yourself, but this is a big slice of breaking news and we're starting the show with this. First, give us the biggest takeaways. So, start by telling us the biggest takeaways on what the Supreme Court has had to say about the Waqf Act. We'll take more questions after that.
Well, you know, the Supreme Court has, in fact, made certain sections to be stayed at this particular point of time, like with regards to, you know, the one with regards to the practicing Muslim, the person has to say and prove that he's a practicing Muslim. The court has stayed that particular proviso until, you know, there are rules that are framed by the state government. Not only that, a big important thing that comes out from this verdict is that the Waqf Amendment Act 2025 that had been brought in by the Union government before the Parliament got it passed from both the houses is something that is on a prima facie view constitutional in nature. Only in rarest of the rare circumstances can the court actually stay such an act, is what in fact the Supreme Court has gone on to say. But the biggest takeaway that comes out of it is that not more than 3 Muslim members can be on the Waqf board, and a total of 4 non-Muslim members could be there in totality as far as the Waqf board and Waqf councils are concerned, is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. However, as far as the Waqf by user is concerned, the Supreme Court has affirmed that there has to be registration of Waqf by user, and that is something, you know, that is really important, is what the top court has gone on to say. But it's a big win, you know, as far as the government is concerned, because the constitutionality of the act has been put a stamp on, at least in a prima facie view, by the Supreme Court, and that is something, you know, that the government would assail as a big victory for them.
So, Ananya, lay out for our viewers right now, please, which parts of the Waqf Act the Supreme Court has actually stayed. Are there clauses? Which are these clauses? Lay them out for us in detail, please.
Well, you know, there are only certain provisos of the particular of the Waqf Amendment Act that have been stayed. That too not because of they being violative of the constitutional provisions, but because there might not be a statutory framework for there, and as far as the collector's power with regards to determination of a property is a government property or not is something that has been stayed. That too only till the aspect that, you know, the collector though could determine as to whether a property is a public is a government property or not, but the revenue records could not be changed, and the Waqf status is not lost until and unless the matter is seen by the tribunal, the Waqf tribunal, and also by, in fact, the High Court itself. So that is something, you know, that has been stayed by the Supreme Court. Secondly, that a person being a practicing Muslim for over 5 years is something that has been stayed until the state government actually formulates, in fact, rules and regulations as far as to determine as to who is a practitioner of Islam and who is not. And that is why, you know, in the absence of, in the absentia of, in fact, a legal framework, that has been stayed until and unless there is a legal framework that comes into place. And that is something, you know, that the government would also be in favor of somewhere or the other, because they would also be framing certain guidelines as to how to determine if a person is a non-Muslim, is a practicing Muslim or not.
Okay, Ananya, stay with us, please. All right, we're going to go over to our battery of reporters who join us, but we're also going to first play out for you reactions that are continuing to come in. Take a look at those, and then we'll go over to our reporters for more context.
मैं चाहता हूं कि आज सर जिस तरह से आज फैसला है वो उसको आप कैसे देखते हैं, आप किन की तरफ से थे, इसके बारे में बताइए।
हम 2 पेटिशनर्स के लिए थे, दोनों कांग्रेस के एमपी, एक किशनगंज के एमपी जावेद साहब जो जेपीसी के मेंबर भी थे, दूसरे लक्षद्वीप के एमपी हमदुल्ला सईद साहब, और जिनका ये कहना था कि जो 3E वाला प्रोविजन है जो कहता है कि शेड्यूल 5 और शेड्यूल 6 एरिया में वक्फ नहीं क्रिएट हो सकता, वो उनकी ट्राइबल पहचान और उनकी मुस्लिम पहचान में से किसी एक को चुनने की बात है। तो इनको हमने रिप्रेजेंट किया था, और आज कोर्ट ने इंटरिम उस पर अपना फैसला सुनाया है। हमारे हिसाब से ये काफ़ी बैलेंस्ड और अच्छा फैसला है, लंबा है, कोर्ट ने खुद कहा कि इट्स अ लेंथी जजमेंट, तो उसको पढ़ना पड़ेगा, तब हम ज़्यादा बेहतर पोजीशन में होंगे इस पर कोई भी अच्छा इन्फॉर्म्ड ओपिनियन देने के लिए।
इसको हम आम बोलचाल की भाषा में समझना चाहते हैं अपने तमाम दर्शकों के लिए कि जो प्रमुख जो क्या-क्या महत्वपूर्ण आज का कोर्ट का फैसला रहा है,
जो अभी तक प्रोनाउंस हुआ है, अभी कॉपी नहीं आई है, उसके हिसाब से जो वो प्रोविजन था कि 5 साल प्रैक्टिसिंग मुसलमान होना पड़ेगा वक्फ क्रिएट करने के लिए, उस पर स्टे हो गया है। साथ ही साथ जो प्रोविजन था कि जहां डिस्प्यूट होगा वो प्रॉपर्टी वक्फ नहीं रह जाएगी, उस पर पार्शियल स्टे है। उसके अलावा जो नॉन मुस्लिम मेंबर्स हैं वो 3 से ज़्यादा वक्फ बोर्ड में नहीं हो सकते हैं। और
वक्फ बाय यूजर इज कंसर्न, अरे शमशाद सर Sir, what has the Supreme Court said as far as Waqf by user is concerned?
See, Supreme Court has not specifically said anything in this short pronouncement, but
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsuman, and we begin with